Live from the 4.5-inch studio in the heart of the suburbs of downtown Salem, Virginia, this is Small Room, Loud Stories. I'm your host, Rob Miles. I'm here today with Jason Derrick. Is it Jason Derrick Music? Should I call you Mr. Music?
I think I don't know who it was, but Jason Derrick is fine, just to kind of get that on the table.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people just tack on that music just to kind of have a website or something like
Right.
that everybody understands what they're going for and stuff like that. Something early on, I think, so people just know what you're looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also
Pretty common thing,
also
but then it gets tacked on.
yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I also saw another name, a last name attached to the band. Which band? I'm sorry, I'm 60, so my memory isn't what it used to be. But you have a band as well.
They're...
Or
so
is it just a project?
So, I have a former kind of like we could go through the history a little bit if you wanted to. That might help just kind of do a timeline together.
Okay.
But I have a lot of former projects that I have been involved with that I'm extremely proud of having been involved in and still promote those to this day. I mean, they just ran their time and course in that.
Of course.
Of that kind of thing. And then, there's other kinds of, I still have like a current cover band kind of thing going on. If I can ever get enough members together, that's another thing we can talk about here in just a minute.
Okay.
That's always an ongoing struggle. Right. And then currently, like right now, I'm doing a solo project with the ambitions of rolling that over into working with more people.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of relaunching. This is really a relaunch of my career. If you think of an hourglass, there's been a really choke point in my career for what was and what will be.
Okay.
And I'm getting to the point now where I'm really seeing the other side now, where things are flourishing, and that's pretty nice. So,
all right.
So that's where it can get confusing.
Yeah.
There's going to be eras, not to be confused with Taylor.
Well, I don't think there will be, physically there certainly wouldn't be a lot of confusion
Yeah.
with almost any of the Taylors I know,
yeah,
Swift or otherwise.
I'm safe. I'm good. Yeah. I won't be confused there.
Well, you've started into it, but tell us a little bit more about yourself. Give us a little bit of that history.
Yeah, because it is a little twisted and convoluted.
That's how we like it.
I've gone through a really I would say a tug of war between like two major, and a lot of other forces. But, when I was young, I don't know when it happened the first time, but I think it was in church or something, and some touring band, kind of an act or whatever, came in and they had sang a song that apparently caught my ear. And later on in the parking lot, I was basically singing it word for word. I barely remember this. This is like something like 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
And so this was like a shock factor enough that what I do remember is the people around me. And they asked me to sing it again. I did. And that started my parents on a little weird kind of thing because they tried to get
dollar signs in the eyes, or
no, I don't think it was that, because they were kind of religious. It was we're talking like pew jumping, Church of God, kind of another story.
As Tyler Childers would say, the old time screaming and shouting.
yeah, a lot. I mean, and the speaking in tongues. I grew up in that kind of. So the music was great. I mean, they rock out over there, and I think a lot of that, was some of the original kind of stuff. But I'm going to throw on another problem here, and this leads me to the tug of war, and that is, I probably have a lot of acronyms and isms, and I'm not saying that to be like disrespectful. I've diagnosed and
right.
well documented kind of issues and stuff. So, my parents would come in, and I literally would have drug out every pot and pan to beat on, as kids do. But a 4-year-old designed a drum set, like built like the way it's supposed to look. I had seen the way it was supposed to look, and I had built it in the kitchen.
So not just laying on the floor, you had tiers.
I had this. I told these are the cymbals, these are the toms. These I had explained it. I had explained how each of it was.
Right.
So they tried to put me into drum lessons, and the guy was like, "He's awesome, but I can't teach the kid. He's just out of control." And so, and that's going to be a recurring theme, because I am a bull in a china shop, and I hope that comes off.
Well, let me put the crystal up.
I try to keep the reins on it, and that's where, so, this is, so I never could fit into that kind of thing. Go back, I was really great at school. Loved math, loved all that kind of stuff. Until about middle school, when I rediscovered, rock and roll. And
right.
This girl brought me a stack of old cassette tapes, and in them was the original, like, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets.
Right.
And when I got to that set, I just I was like, oh, give me more of that.
Right.
And begged and begged for a drum set. And on my 13th birthday, I got that drum set, and I spent an infinite amount of time on that drum set. To this day, the best instrument, and I don't ever touch it. The residual of what I was when I was 18, 24 years old, the residual of that is still better than anything that I play today. I can get behind a drum set and step in. I can blindly step in with any band, anywhere. Just give me the songs, I'll rehearse them and show up on the day of the gig, and we're good.
Yeah.
But that's the only instrument I can do that with. It's the only thing I can do that with. And so ever since then, though, I've got in bands. I played in, I was in these, I could throw out these Dangerous Obsession and Forsaken. If you are super old and from like a certain region of like Tazewell, kind of Bluefield area, we played Your Party. We played United Skates, and we toured around all the United Skates and all that kind of stuff. And Judgment was another band that we toured with a little bit. We ended up, that will come back into play later.
Okay.
And so that goes on, and we kind of I kind of got to the place where it was kind of like a mix of playing your own songs, but still party band and kind of thing. And this is still 90s.
Right.
Kind of. And I'd almost dropped out of school by this point, because I thought I was going to be a rock star. Almost, I barely passed high school. But I was in all the AP classes. I took physics and calculus and all that. I just showed up for the exams, got whatever I needed to pass the course, and that was it. Went and turned in homework.
That was a lot like me. I wasn't near as able as you to just go in and do it, but I rarely did the homework because it was just boring. I already know this. I know this well enough. The homework to me is practice so that you learn it. Once you know it, the test will show whether you know it or not. I just didn't feel like doing the homework. I was too busy not doing other things.
And, and as my life went on, I maintained a level of empathy. There's so many kids today that just don't see where school applies to them truly long term. Like, just give me the basic skills.
Yeah.
And I get that. I truly get that for a lot of people that understand if they've got a technical, kind of future and other kinds of things like that. Like, I got a good family. They own a garage and, mechanical garage, and very good. And the kid loves it. He races cars, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
He loves this kind of stuff. And we're always talking about, he's like, how much he hates school. I'm like, I get it, brother.
Yeah.
I get it.
who needs history was a thing for me. I love history. I just don't care about the details. I don't need to know the exact date that this thing happened. I just want to know about this thing happening.
Yeah.
And that's probably the reader in me. I love reading about stuff, but I don't want to have to go through a test at the end of it. It's enough for me to feel it and remember just the feelings that I had while I read it. I don't need to know that this character said this at this point in the story. And it's how I feel about history, just to tie that up.
I got it. Yeah, the love of learning. I think to some degree, it's like I enjoy more the process.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I get it that some people don't. That's why the exam has to exist. I mean, if I trusted all my students to do their work, I wouldn't give them an exam.
Right.
I mean, that's ultimately, we can talk about, having to play to the one side of the room or the other.
Right.
I wish I could play the gifted all the time, but anyway.
Well, no, I understand.
So, I kind of looked at my life after high school, kind of toured a little bit, had some really cool experiences. We almost really destroyed a building one time. Not me, but the crowd. It was just one of those great. There's I almost cry when I think about it. But it was still just more. It was something else. And so I looked at it and realized it wasn't going anywhere. I'm like 20 years old, and I'm like, I'm going to go back to college. And of course, I barely passed high school, so I had to go take the SATs.
Right.
So at 20, I hadn't been in school in a couple of years, but luckily decent enough at math that I almost got perfect on that, and my verbal was pretty low. But I did really good on my SATs, and then.
So where did you go?
I went to Radford University.
Okay.
And I wanted to go to Virginia Tech. But I started at Bluefield State College because I'm from that area.
Right.
And I just was still kind of working in the music scene with people down there. But after I got into college, I realized that this was made for me. I was like, 4 tests and a paper? Are you kidding?
Yeah, professors are a lot more.
Kidding? This is like, I didn't understand this. And I mean, just nothing but A's. I mean, I just crushed college all the way through. And so I transferred that. At some point, they were like, get out of here. And I was like, so I wanted to go to tech because I started off in chemical engineering. And so
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I had already taken like all the DiffEQs and everything, and like OChem, and like I was working through all of that, but like I was taking psychology courses as just because I didn't like taking basket weaving as electives, so I was like, that seems cool, so I took that, and eventually I just decided to jump ship, and so I went like stats and probabilities and kind of big data, kind of some other stuff, but mental health. Other stuff was just really appealing. It felt dangerous.
Well, I took psychology courses when I went to Roanoke College for a couple of years.
Great.
That was decades ago. And I just had a hard time finding what it was I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be an accountant and, maybe in finance and that kind of stuff. And it just didn't really fit. And then I took a couple of psychology courses, and I was like, I love this. I love just diving into what is making people tick. What makes me tick. Just having a grounding for understanding why I was who I was.
Yeah.
And then I started doing well enough and thought, this is the perfect time to drop out of college and join the military. And so that's
logical.
Just seemed like I was really doing well with psychology. This is a good time to change directions.
Well, that's it. I'm sure there's a story behind that too.
There's a lot of story.
We'll talk about this because I'm going to flip the tables on this at some point because we've already talked about. I'm doing this on the video side, so I'm building that right now too, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. That studio is being built currently. I'm just taking a little bit more time to get it launched, but I've already got the few guests already lined up and everything, so we can talk about that here in a minute as well. I'm really proud of you. This is awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. This is it's been so much better received than I thought it would. And I mean, people like you and the others who have reached out to me and said, man, I think this will be interesting. It's really given me the encouragement to keep going with it. And the first few episodes, I stumbled a little bit, but I stand behind it. I think they came out pretty good. And I love I don't have to be great. I just like to be better, So
I'd rather make stuff than, we'll talk. I can't be Tool, so I can't wait 14 years to cut the next record. So.
Well, speaking of that,
yeah.
well, I don't want to interrupt but
Oh yeah, no, we can get.
I'm
yeah.
sure it'll get there.
Oh yeah, that's where we're going.
But
That's all- yeah.
I did notice you are very prolific. You've got a lot of music out there.
But it's hidden a little bit.
Well,
If you go to the website, now if you go to the website, it will start you down the rabbit hole.
Right. I think I found. I generally.
But that leaves out a whole other section of the writing and all that.
Okay,
too,
yeah.
that I think some people may or may not know about as well, and that's a whole nother area.
I wanted to get into that as well. I think we've got a lot of avenues to unpack here.
yeah.
But so go on with your.
So, I graduated from college fairly well. I mean, great standing, everything like that. But I just knew I loved music.
Yeah.
So I kind of talked to my mom, and I'd kind of made them all a deal because I'm not saying I was a screw up, but I was a total screw up. I would say screw up would be a great way to put it. But if I had had my head on straight at all when I was young, I would have been great in so many different ways. But I was self-destructive. I destroyed a lot of relationships that are personally responsible to me. The role that I played in them, I will never, fully wash away those sins that I carry. And one of the songs on this album even speaks to that, and I could even tear up at any moment when I think about these people, in my life and stuff like that, that I understand why, that there's distance between us, and I get that. And, I start to get my head on straightish, and stuff like that. And I talked to my mom, and I'm like, look, I want to try to do the music thing again this time. But this time I want to try, for real.
Right.
One of my really good friends at the time, and I've had some really bad tragedies. My very best friend died when we were 19. I say very, people thought we were twins.
Yeah.
And I grabbed onto a couple other best friends, one of which also has tragically died. But one of them became, ultimately, my buddy in music and just so many things. And in reality, my best friend ever, because he was there through all those 20s and the touring buses and, and all that. And where the long, just hours and hours and hours of endless conversations.
Right.
And fights and fights. And
well, he's one of the ones who saw you at your worst, so he deserves you at your best.
Yeah. Well, and that's true. And I, and I still, again, there's a lot of distance between a lot of us now. And hey, a lot of it's my fault. Most of it could be. And, that is what it is. But when I got back into it, I started kind of really beating the doors, of people I knew. This time, I had my feet in the system a little bit. I knew people in the network. I knew people in the know. And so I found some people here and there, and I'm like, okay, this is working. I'm getting some traction. And then there was this kind of band that had been doing pretty well. Their name was Temple. We had kind of this other kind of makeshift kind of a cover band. We kind of wrote some originals, but we were a party band called
Right.
Mud Shovel.
Mud Shovel, okay.
Yeah, which was a take off of, I think, a Stained song.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and so we just thought it was a fun name for
Yeah.
a cover band kind of a thing. And then it evolved into something else. But that broke up, and then Temple kind of broke up, and then Temple became another band eventually with a different singer, but then they needed a new bass player. And then that bass player was the bass player from my band.
Okay.
That was my best friend. That this is my new buddy.
Right.
And so, the singer for that band just was awesome, fantastic. But you know how things are. They just, for whatever reason, they don't work out.
If they don't mesh, they don't mesh.
Yeah, and there's no conjecture on my part. I don't want to dig into anything, and that all happened so long ago. My memory's fuzzy. So. But for whatever reason, we started a campaign to get me in the band. And, and there was a lot of resistance because, unfortunately, there had been some bad blood between those two bands in the past. And other people had been involved in that, again, for whatever reason. So, but we fought through it. There was, a tryout session that turned into a 6-month. Well, we'll write an album tryout session to putting the foot on the floor and basically saying either this is what it is or you know, and that's it. And that starts This Machine. And This Machine really, and I know there was a This Machine, and I do not want to discredit that. And there was kind of what was going on there in the early stages of it. But, you know, several members had shifted around and stuff like that. But when we got in that room, I mean, we didn't necessarily like each other all and stuff like that. But, man, it worked. Yeah. It worked. And we knew it worked. And we wanted to, and it just worked. And it was fantastic.
So just to be clear, the band name was This Machine.
The band name was This Machine.
I just wanted to, I heard that and I thought, but I just wanted to make sure that.
And if you are of a certain age, like we played everywhere. I mean, we played from, Greensboro to, all over. I mean, like North Carolina, Tennessee to, oh, I'm knocking stuff over.
There goes that bull in the china shop.
Yes. Got to live up to it. We had a regional following. We were extreme, if you were within a 5-hour radius of our home base, we were beating on your doorstep. We were trying.
And was this in Radford?
No, we were based out of Bluefield at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And my claims to fame are not that we necessarily got to open for people, but we got to play in enough venues that carried enough people that we would be allowed backstage when big bands would come in.
Right.
So like Slipknot is
that's cool.
Literal. This is one of the greatest experiences of my life. Me and my buddy, he was kind of the roadie for our band. Gary Carr, if you're out there, he rode with me in a freaking snowstorm to Winston-Salem to play at Ziggy's at one of my favorite haunts down there. This is the old Ziggy's, if you've ever been down there with the old tent top. And I mean, if there are people right now doing backflips because they are like, yes, I went and saw whatever band there. Because, I mean, if you ever went and saw Hatebreed there, it was one of the most insane things you have ever done in your entire life. Okay, so Slipknot literally just plays Ozfest. They are just blowing up. And they play this tiny little dive bar called Ziggy's in Winston-Salem. And I dragged my buddy through a snowstorm down there. There are kids lined up down the block to get down there. But down there, it's not snowing.
Right.
It's not,
Yeah, you just have to go through the hell to get there.
Yeah. Now, I think I'm a badass piece of whatever. I can do whatever the hell I want to. At this point, I am a real bull in a china shop. I am full of myself. If I am a full narcissist, and this is my peak narcissism, and I look at that line of people, and I have been in the scene and stuff like that, and I just looked at my, this is a guy, he's been there with us, so he knows and stuff like that. And I'm like, you belong with me. Do you understand that? And he said, yeah. And I walked right past everybody, right through the front door, went in and sat down. I went in and sat down for about 4 hours. I watched as Kitty did a dress rehearsal. This is Kitty when they were 16. They were opening up for Slipknot. They were 16-year-old girls and sat there and hung out with Kitty and their parents, their moms, for about 4 hours. Me and my buddy Carr, I swear to God, I can back up all this stuff. Slipknot sets up all their stuff. They had to go to the hardware store to build onto the stage so they could get those damn drums to fit. And they are building. There's like,
Were they wearing the mask at that point?
No, completely in normal clothing. And I'm just like, and my buddy is about to freak out, and I am too, but I just keep looking at him, and I'm like, you better keep your shit together. Like, you cannot blow this. You just cannot blow this.
And for what it sounds like, coming from you at that time, that's saying something. If you're telling somebody, keep your shit together at that time.
Yes. I'm just sitting over here, and I'm like, I'm trying to be as in it, but not on the edge. But on the edge, but not like, looking like, I'm like, you just act like you belong here. Yeah. And so Slipknot gets their stuff set up and does 2 rehearsal songs in complete normal clothes. And I mean, I'm about to shit my pants. We then go and watch the show. Like, everybody starts filling in.
Right.
Okay. After the show, I said, hold back, buddy. hold back.
We got a mission.
I said, hold back. We had been there for so long. We had been there for hours and hours watching all that stuff. That after the show, everybody just still assumed we were part of it. We're eating with them. I hung out with Mick for hours. He literally, he didn't hang out with the rest of them at the time because he doesn't really drink or anything like that.
Okay.
And so like he'd rather play video games or go play on his guitar or something like that.
Now I know the music of Slipknot, but I don't know who Mick is.
Mick is the guitar player with the like Jason mask, the big, he's one of the big giant dudes. Okay. I met these guys actually a couple different times. They will never remember me. I am an ant. I am a gnat. I am a nothing.
Well, they're all
to
big
them.
league now.
But I would have never. Everybody was flocking towards them at that time.
Right.
But I got to spend hours, and the two people I never actually got to spend time with were Craig and Sean. Those two guys they're not ones to hang out with people and stuff like that. And that's for whatever reason.
I can get that though.
they just don't. It's just not their thing. And
now,
I
was
get
Corey with them at that time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so
I don't know a lot of the history of Slipknot, but I had the idea that Corey had come in later with them.
He did.
They'd had an original singer before.
Right.
Okay.
So Sean, Paul, and oh my God,
Matt?
No. Joey Jordison. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Please drag me out and kill me right now. I deserve to die. And so those three are the guys that started the band.
Okay.
So the clown, crazy lunatic, but business. Okay. And Paul was the bass player, and Joey was the drummer. And they are the ones who constructed that. So if you think like this machine was probably originated, if you had to pull it back, it would have probably been the two Chris's in the band, Chris Holston and Chris White. Were the original kind of like core members.
Right.
And then there was a lot of fluctuation. And then there finally was, bang, this is it.
Right.
This is Slipknot. And the Slipknot we know, now, that's the one I met. That the very first album, very first tour.
What time period was
this? 2000.
2000, okay.
Yeah. And
right.
so, but here's the thing. They're a mix of personalities. Sid, the DJ, he's crazy. He's fun. These guys are all fun. James, Root, I felt like I was in the presence of sophistication around him. Like he knew, like I just felt like he knew things. Like he could see like what was ticking. Like, if there was, he wasn't necessarily like this. I'm just trying to say, like, he could have been like one of those, like, sipping coffee, reading books, and like a professor somewhere. So it just felt like that kind of, like there was an aura about him like that. Just such a variety. And then I eventually got to Corey.
Yeah.
And Corey and I hung out for the rest of the evening. And Corey showed me that none of this was a mistake. None of this was an accident. And the example I will always give people is this. Marilyn Manson is often, one of those people that's divisive and stuff.
Yeah.
But we often find out he's pretty intelligent. And
yes.
Now, we can talk about other personal behavior and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I don't want to get into that. But as far as, do you believe that Anthony Hopkins eats people because he played Hannibal Lecter in a movie?
Exactly. You have to separate the actual person from the persona that they are on stage.
So the persona was built. It was a thing that was designed. It was understood from the beginning. It was planned out.
Right.
That first album that they did with the other singer, they sunk $20,000, I think, back then into production costs and stuff like that just for that album. And when I walked out of that, I realized, no, wait a minute. This is a business. And that day is a marker in my life. Not because I met Slipknot, because they taught me something. I sat and listened to them.
Right.
And I talked to each one of them and listened to what they and I learned that this was not an accident. This was deliberate action. And,
okay.
And I took that with me. Yeah.
They're like an extension 30 years later of Alice Cooper.
This is a deliberate action. This is a construction of epic proportions with grand vision in sight, and and things might be tough now, but if you stick to if you truly have a vision and you work on a real plan, not just blindly go into the night. I mean, we can talk about blind courage, and that's a whole nother. We can talk about blind courage in a lot of different formats, but blind courage without a good plan is still just as reckless or whatever. So, but planning to the point of not moving, so you got to balance that somewhere in there. You got to make mistakes. You got to be willing to give yourself freedom to grow, and you've talked about already having mistakes on this.
Oh yeah.
So.
I don't mind making mistakes as long as I can learn from them. I only get frustrated with myself if I keep making the same mistakes over and over.
Right. So, I took that back with me, and, this machine, I said, that's it. We got a ledger, and we started it. We started building the merch booth. We started, we had a merch guy. We had people going with us. We had projector screens. We had things going on stage. We had a show. Yeah. And it was fun. And so, we wrote another album, and that album, I still stand by it 20 years later. It's just a fantastically awesome, like, progressive metal album.
Right.
But, I think there was an expectation that didn't get achieved. And I think the work that was required to keep it going was not appreciated by all.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it became a shadow of itself. And when we played our last show together, somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I heard that this is y'all's last show." And I said, "Is it?"
Maybe what they were saying is, I could hear from what y'all were doing that this is going to be your last show.
It turns out it wasn't. That was another part of the saga, but not at that time it did.
Yeah.
And I got really bad taste in my mouth. And if you ever do make a business out of music, it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of the joy away from it when you have 3 or 4 t-shirt guys, 3 or 4 hoodie guys, 3 or 4 sticker guys, and you're constantly jostling for the better price on this and that, because you're buying in bulk, and you're buying, large amounts, and you're buying, 1,000 CDs at a time, and you're buying.
And that's getting you away from the whole point of the music, I would think.
Well, that's part of what, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I understood that, but it became blood, sweat, and tears. That if we had all kept in it, I think it still could have made it.
I got you.
Because, it's like, look, there's other so great bands that just persist until they get it, and they just go, and I think that if you're good enough, persistence is ultimately what it comes down to.
Okay.
If you're good enough. I mean, again, talent, and it's got to meet the sweat. It's that amalgamation of, these forces. So, what's the perfect recipe? Yeah. So when that fizzled out, I looked again at what my options were, and I had been dealing again with a lot of mental health and stuff like that, burning bridges, just never getting my shit together, alcohol problems, other kinds of things that come along with being in the scene and stuff like that, and not being a good person, and just feeling like I needed to be better, again. And so I go back to college, get my master's degree in counseling psychology. Went and did a stint in that before I could even get licensed. I was like, I can't do this.
Right.
My heart was way too squishy. But in that process, I was teaching. And I started teaching like as a GTF, like a graduate teaching fellow. And I loved it. And so I got hired on over at New River to start teaching, even while I was in college still, even before I'd even graduated. Just to start teaching
what were
classes.
You teaching?
Psych classes, variety of them.
Okay.
And then I started teaching once I graduated, Radford said, come on, we'll start teaching classes here. So I started, adjuncting for them. And before long, I'd started teaching classes at Tech, and, I'm just adjuncting. I never got my PhD. I went and I did everything but file my dissertation because it wasn't going to pass. I didn't complete. I was going to have to kind of reboot the whole project, and it was going to take
a lot more than you wanted to put into it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I had to come to a crossroads where I had to look at money well lost versus, like, do I keep
Yeah, sunk cost fallacy keeps people into a lot of things that they should have moved away from.
So I mean, I have like PhD courses. Like I've actually gone to a couple of different universities of higher education and achieved some decent awards and achievements and stuff like that, but never gotten the PhD.
Right.
And certified life coach and all kinds of other stuff that anybody can apply for online. And so, but I love the teaching stuff, and to the point where there was like some regulations that came in about like part-time and stuff like that, which affected adjunct teaching,
right, and
restricted some stuff, made things really difficult for me to kind of manage that. And through some jostling in my personal life, I got to a situation to where my family and I were able to come to a discussion of what we wanted and what we needed and stuff like that. And so there's like a 10-year gap of almost like I didn't mess around with music.
Okay.
And that's that real bottleneck kind of thing that kind of happened, because it hurt me because it was so personal. It was all that stuff was so personal. And so not like personal, like I just sunk my heart and my soul into it. And when I walked away from it, I needed healing to some degree, but like, I don't know what it was. I mean, I could never really put my finger on it, but I probably never touched a single instrument for 2 years.
Well, I could see, for me, it would be, I've been in similar situations, not necessarily music-wise, but where I'm ready to throw my heart and soul into it, and I'm working with people that I think are behind that same idea, and then it turns out it was just a Saturday for them. And it's kind of like, well, if I'm willing to put my heart and soul in it, why isn't everybody else? That.
Or I know they are, but I think like, and this will come back up again, but like it's in trying to figure out each other's visions, and like it's hard to kind of figure out each other's visions sometimes. And
right.
I get that too. I understand that as well. So, I started teaching and did all that and got myself in a pretty decent situation.
Yeah.
Mainly because I married the best woman in the entire world. And honey, if you are listening, I love you so much. You are the greatest.
That's not what this podcast is about.
Don't you go, well, no. I'll see you later, baby. All right, I'll be home late.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
All right. But no, I mean, we just looked at things, and, I started playing, and I picked up the guitar, which I'd never really played. I guess I had, but, like, never done it intentionally. And
right.
Grabbed a few little recording devices and plucked on a piano and, just kind of started off like one finger. I started a little project called One Note Wonder.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that turned into actually this pretty awesome EDM project.
Yeah.
That actually gets some decent kind of feedback from time to time. And that's nice. But that was just me learning how to use the equipment. I swear to God, that's just me. Like, I'm just like, I have no idea I just bought this program or like a drum machine. Like, I'm trying to fake and pull up these maps on screen and had to buy another monitor. And I'm like,
did you find yourself whenever you're learning a new instrument, do you find yourself getting to a certain point and then getting distracted by what you can do with what you already know? Like, I know I should be going on to the next lesson, but oh, here's a nice little sound. And then just kind of, that always happens to me every time I think, all right, I'm going to buckle down and take these lessons and really get better at guitar. Oh, that's a neat little sound. And I write a song around it or something.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm not ready to move on sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when I started picking up the guitar, I mean, I was stuck in, GDA,
nothing wrong with those.
Yeah, you grab those 4 chords or whatever, the cowboy chords, you know, and rock them. And I'm not saying you're like, what is it, Ed Sheeran had to sue and say that there is no original music basically anymore. It's ultimately the outcome of the.
Yeah, I mean, I think my takeaway from that, and it's something that I've long believed, is that there are only so many chord progressions. What makes a song distinct is the melody.
Right.
And my take on what he was arguing in court, Ed Sheeran was arguing, was that exactly that. You can be playing a chord progression and put a lot of different songs over it because of their inherent melody. So you're not stealing from somebody when you're using that chord progression. You're stealing if you use their exact melody.
Right.
But I think...
I mean, I've seen even people push it even farther to say, like, you know what, when they talk about like pop music and why pop music is what sounds the way it is, it's because it's not about coming up with new chord progressions. It's about coming up with new sounds to layer over top of that. Like, you know, using the LFOs and all the different kinds of ways you can tweak sound with, you know, now with, oh God.
Right.
Like, it's insane what you can do. That's partly what, you know, I use Ableton as my main DAW because it's good for live and some other stuff, but I've gotten used to it now.
Yeah.
So, but it's basically like FL Studio or Logic. It's, if you use any of those are all.
I've used, I used GarageBand when I had a Mac.
Yeah.
And then I'm using OBS Studio now, which isn't really a DAW. It's just a way of being able to use your recordings, but it's mostly for, it's where it shines is for video. I've got 2 different cameras that I use when I'm teaching online guitar courses.
Okay.
So that I have one focused on my fretting hand, and then the other one is more of a wide view showing me in the strumming.
All right.
And that was a recent development. I only did that a couple of months ago because I just got frustrated with having to constantly say, well, here, let me hold my hand up. Can you see my fingers there? And it was just crazy. And I teach through a group called Guitars for Veterans. And
that is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a veteran, so when I found out about Guitars for Veterans, the first thing I thought was, damn, I wish I'd known that 10 years ago because I could have used what they do. What they provide is 10 free lessons for veterans, and at the end of that 10 lessons, the veteran gets a free guitar.
Oh,
and
wow.
And it's a great program. I wish I'd known about it back when I was struggling and couldn't really afford a guitar, and when I was struggling and trying to figure out how to learn how to play music. But, you know, I got there and I thought, well, I can help. I can give somebody else what I didn't have and give them some of that direction. And I didn't know if I was going to enjoy teaching or not. I thought, I'll try this out. I don't know if I can be a teacher, but let's see. And it turns out I love it. There's a lot of satisfaction I've had students who don't know anything about it. And after 10 weeks, they can play a song. And that's, you know, they wouldn't have been able to do that in 10 weeks without the course. You know, it's not
and not
me,
just smoke on the water.
Right. Well, I mean, that's one of my mainstays. No.
Right, yeah, I know.
But usually it's a song that they want to play. You know, they tell at the beginning what song they would like to play. And so I kind of build the whole 10-week course around slowly building them up to that. But I've also had students that came in with a very good basic knowledge. And I'm thinking, well, from a guitar perspective, I don't know what I can teach them. Maybe a little bit of, I'm not a lead guitar player, but I know how to noodle over a chord progression. And so I can get them up to that point. I had one student that, there really wasn't anywhere I could go with that. He was already further along than than I could really build on. But he was really interested in theory. And I said, bet, I can talk all day on theory. I love theory.
Yeah.
So I spent 10 weeks teaching him, little by little. And of course, doing that meant I had to learn. I had to push my boundaries of what I knew.
Right.
And so I really love that part of teaching.
Oh, teaching is the only way to learn something.
Yeah.
I swear, like, whenever we get a new course that we've never taught before, we call it a new prep. So how many preps do you have? Oh, I got 3 preps. That means you have 3 different classes. Like, you might have 5 sections, but some are overlapped.
Right.
But a new prep, that's one you've never. And the joke is, oh, you'll finally get to learn that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you have to teach it to somebody, you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about now.
I know it, but I don't know how to explain it.
Right.
And now you gotta
Which
learn
means
how
you
to
don't know.
explain-
You really. Right, you don't know the details. You don't really know how it works until, like, then, you got to be able to answer questions. And that's nerve-wracking. Oh, I almost throw up sometimes, like when I have a new course to teach, or even at the beginning of a semester if I really feel the pressure, because it's an obligation.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Oh no, I get extremely like those, those students, because I teach at the university level, and like these are bright people. These are not kids. These are I mean, some of them are coming in with associate's degrees that they got while they were in high school and different things and stuff.
And they got a chip on their shoulder, and they're waiting for you to make a mistake so they can come in and say, "No, you're wrong."
There's always those, of course, but they're smart. The thing is that they know when you're full of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, your kids know when you're full of shit. I mean, they'll follow your instruction, but they know you're full of shit.
Yeah.
And so so a bit of me, being a good teacher is knowing when to say I don't know, and being humble, and those kinds of things, and saying, hey, this is an opportunity for us to learn together.
Exactly.
Let's all break out our computers, and stuff. So, collaboration is always going to be something that I really value, as.
Yeah, you have a call out basically,
Absolutely.
saying that you want to get together and collaborate with people, and
There's
you
something
and
bigger
I are
coming.
going to have a talk after.
There's something bigger coming, and we're talking about today. We're going to have the first open discussion of this today. You're actually the first person to ever hear the album outside of my inner circle.
Okay.
So I don't know if you listened to it.
I
or
did.
had the chance.
This has been a busy week, so I haven't been able to do a deep dive, but I've been
Yeah.
able to listen to all of the songs. I haven't been able, to get in and analyze and all that stuff. But
If you can make it through tracks, I don't know if they came through in the order, but 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you can get through those 4, you get the gist of the album.
well, they didn't come in order, but they were
shit.
listed in order. So
Okay.
I did them in the order that they
Okay.
were in their actual order, because
Okay.
my brain just works like that. I don't want to start at
Well, I'm
7 when
desperate
I've
to
still
know.
got 1 and 4 and 6 to go.
Well, I'm desperate to know what you think so far, but
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. I'm not, and I don't think, as I understand what metal is, I don't think this really falls under metal. It really seems like it's a wide range of influences and genres.
I would hope that's what you. That's why I think you have to reach a certain threshold with this particular album.
Right.
Because I think if you grab any one song off this, you are going to be sorely mistaken about what the rest of the album
You have to listen
is.
to the rest of it to get an overall feel for
I
it.
mean, I would almost say like slow country-esque, somber kinds of songs.
There's some Americana in there.
Yeah.
I definitely hear some of that. A little bit harder stuff too.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yep.
a little electronica maybe.
Yep. I mean, some of them I wrote as electronica songs that evolved. Like I started overlapping guitars, and
Right.
as they were like maybe a One Note Wonder song or something,
Right.
that kind of never made it into One Note Wonder, evolved into something else, and then I gutted all that out, and then rewrote it as a rock song or something like that.
Okay.
And that's why you can hear elements of like the dance kind of
Right.
like, yeah. There's like
Is that you playing all of the instruments?
that is me, top to bottom. That is
You- everything do it yourself too, home
that is-
recording and that.
That is every single bit written, recorded, every single thing done in my little home dungeon.
To me,
the
that is
studio.
just that's
every
the
single bit.
that's the fascinating part. I mean, the music is good, but the fascinating part to me is just the knowledge of being able to do all of the different instruments. That's one thing, but to be able to record and mix them. I mean, I have a decent setup altogether. I just don't have the knowledge of how to use it, and I can't play bass and keyboards and drums and guitar. I can barely play guitar, and I'm trying to learn banjo. But that's slow developing, because once I started doing this, my time for practicing has
Right.
been a little bit less than it was. But no, I just find all that part of it, the creation of it, is just fascinating.
I mean, yeah, I'm a jack of all trades, but ultimately, as they say, probably a master of none. So I find myself in the company of people who I consider to be far more talented than I am. And I think that I am often correct in making the joke that says I'm the least talented person in the room. If I'm only holding one instrument, there's no maybe the drums, maybe
Yeah.
I could, but I just don't practice it. It's just
Right.
I don't do it. It's just I want to be in the front. I'm a narcissist, and that's ultimately where we're going to get to, like why this is what it is right now, and why I want to get away from it, and
Right.
why ultimately it has its limitations. I'm very proud of what I did down over these last 2 years. Starting, if you go to the SoundCloud account, you can hear some of what I call the 3-hour demos,
Right.
where I would just go in with no thoughts at all at like 9 in the morning, and by like 3 in the afternoon, bang, that's it. You hear it, written, recorded with zero idea, lyrics, everything done, and then those evolve, and stuff like that in the background, and I'll
Right.
post demos and stuff like that out there because I know they're trashy. Everything on
Well, I
SoundCloud.
mean, that's the. I used the phrase one time when writing a song that at the beginning you're changing the diaper on a newly born song.
Yeah.
And that's, you're getting woke up at 3:00 in the morning. You're changing shitty diapers.
Right.
That's what a newborn
Yeah.
song is like. It's a mess,
Right.
and you love every minute of it
Mhm.
because you put yourself in that mess. So.
You walk away and you're like, yeah. And I post it, and like by that evening, I've already posted it and everything and stuff like that. And then the next morning, I'm like, oh my god, like, why did I put that online? Like, like literally,
That's a universal.
it is like nothing but like I know every time everybody hears it, they're just like they can hear every awful thing.
And they're listening to it going, oh, that's pretty good. And you're like,
I
but you're
doubt it.
missing all of the modulation that's
Yeah,
off.
it's not the point. Yeah. But through obviously a lot of modern techniques that make it easier for you to self-produce an album.
Yeah.
I don't ask necessarily the computer to write me anything, but you can grab samples or do different things.
Oh,
There's all kinds of different ways you can filter your stuff through, like AI mastering, like stuff to get levels and
Right.
stuff like that. They're really difficult to get unless you buy like the $4,000, not the $400 mics, the $4,000 mics.
Yeah,
And
I am not at that level.
and you got to have them run. And I understand, and there's a purism that we'll get back to that kind of is a problem.
Right.
And it's a blessing and a curse. And so, I end up like, okay, well, I'll make do with what I got. The original copy, and I don't know if you caught this, I accidentally sent you some files that had the original name of the album on it, which was I Have No Friends.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
see that. I wondered about that, but
Yeah.
I mean, an album name is an album name.
Again, my problems are mostly my own fault, but I'm kind of like, I'm there's a line in the album that talks about like not noticing the wake,
Mhm.
not realizing what you were doing. And I understand that the best intentions sometimes aren't good enough. And I get that. Like, it's not always an excuse. And if you use that excuse all the time,
Right.
like, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to do that. Okay.
It wears thin after a while.
I have no ill will in me at all. I wish the best for everyone. I do not want people to get hurt. I get upset when I see athletes get hurt and stuff like that because
Yeah.
I think about their futures and I'm like, oh no, like, oh no, especially, like it hurts me to see that because I have an emotional connection to them. But I'm also like, I've got this, whatever the isms and, this blind sight, that a lot of that stuff gives me, or like I get like, I'm intelligent enough that I can sit down and I'm a spreadsheeter. I walk around with a book just in case.
Systems.
Yeah, and I come in with a plan and a grand vision that isn't often shared by everybody at the time. And to onboard them onto that system, I can't get through my own personality to get them there.
Right.
And they often are like, "I love you, man. Just can't work with you, dude.
Too intense.
Yeah, you're just too much, dude."
Yeah.
And I think some of the best people in my life have had to make that decision. And some of the most talented people I've just pushed away. That's what Icarus is talking about.
Yeah.
That's what that song means. I understand, I just saw the sun and I thought it was so beautiful. And I didn't realize what was going on,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize I was tearing this apart, and that I do need to slow down sometimes to go together. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to be totally narcissistic here, but I have a vision.
Yeah.
I have an idea. And it's hard to get support these days because of how I made this album.
Right.
I was able to make this album on my own because that's the way the wheels are greased right now. It's so easy to do things on your own. Collaboration is dissolving. Community is dissolving. You can't. I get so many people that say they want to do stuff or chastise me for doing stuff the way I do it, and I say, well, then come over.
Right. Let's talk.
Then let's go do it.
Yeah.
And then it
I'm
never.
busy. I got other things, and yeah.
And I mean, that's legit. I don't want to like say it. I don't want to. It's legit.
Right.
But at the same time, like, you've got to make decisions. And like, that's why when I say I'm going to do something, I do it, and I become a bull in a china shop because I've now made a decision. So that means I'm making sacrifices in other parts of my life to do this. Yeah. And that's going to be for a reason. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sacrifice my family time and all this other stuff for this just to dick around and whatever. This means something to me. This is important to me.
Right.
And it's so important to me that I have to make decisions to miss games every now and then because I have commitments to play at some brewery in Salem or at a place down in Withville, that I've got to drive down for hopefully, $125 for,
Yeah.
And
well, and also it comes back to balance too. I mean, you understand that sometimes you have to tamp down your enthusiasm, your intensity to not try to drive people away, but you also kind of expect them to meet you halfway there, at least, and you can't put your whole personality down just to keep a working relationship because then what's the point of working if you can't put your personality into it?
I'm down for a trial period. You can always pull the eject button on me, but at a certain point, I'd just like for us to go, hey, do you understand who I am yet? Like, do you have any questions? Because I'm an open book. Like, I have verbal diarrhea. I'll tell you more than you want to know. So, I'm sitting down and, for the past, 2 years as I'm trying to do this, I got together a little cover band that I'm still holding tight to just because of name right now. I haven't been able to get it out, but I just love the name Radio Fiasco. Okay. It just sounds like the perfect, cover band. I've got a little gimmick to go along with it where I've got this like cardboard cutout of like a jukebox or like a boombox.
Right.
And instead of requesting songs, you can tip and then change the station to like country, rock and roll, like 60s, like oldies, or like, and really so the tip is to change. That's the goal. Like I said, and I just can't get anybody to commit to it. So we have to learn, we just have to learn basically 25 of each genre, 50 of each genre or so like that.
You got to be ready for whatever.
Well,
they're not
just in case they leave it on one station for too long.
Can somebody, look, I'm going to get a free one. Just somebody change.
Can we get out of the oldies station or get out of the country station, please? Or the surf, or like the laid back, I don't know, the Kenny Chesney, like Jimmy Buffett station, make about 6 different stations on there, and they can come up and, put their money in the tip jar and change the station.
Put a 5-song maximum at a time on any station.
Oh, no, it's $20. You're changing the station. No,
that's
so
true.
You get together as a table, as a table you come together.
But I mean, if so...
I don't know. I haven't thought it all out.
Well, but I mean, if somebody comes up and tips and turns it over to your example, country music.
Yeah.
And then you play a country music song, but nobody else is coming up to tip because they all like the country music. How long are you going to go on with country music before you say, okay?
Oh, I'm going to chastise them. I'll be like, obviously, y'all are liking the station. So, remember, keep tipping to keep it on the station because that dial gets loose.
we're going to 40s big band error if you don't start
There
tipping.
we go. I need a zoot suits and stuff. Yeah, we need a brass section. Can I could see it. Yeah. No, I can see doing this a full ensemble, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's a really clever idea.
It's just something fun, that I came up with. Just to, it's something for the crowd. It's something for you. But it's also something to keep down, the relentless. There's always the 1 or 2 guys I know we all know and stuff like that. And I love to try to help them out. But then you help them out once, and then they just keep going at you, and they keep going at you. Yeah. And you spend the night, you're fine, you deal with them, and we all do, we're professionals, nobody gets in trouble or anything, but it's just a way I thought to mediate that, and kind of make it fun.
Really clever.
Yeah.
And you've talked about collaboration. What does collaboration look like to you?
This is where I often, I think like this is where I'm coming to. This is where I've meet the rubber has really met the road here. This album to me again is something I'm proud of, but if I had a guitarist, a drummer, an engineer, backup singers, a piano player, everybody to help me out. Somebody, every position could have been done better by somebody else. That's what I'm saying. I'm the least talented person in the room. I can bring in people with so much more talent at their positions. This is where I don't know how to tiptoe this world, because how do you have a grand vision, maintain a Frank Zappa level of control over the environment without being so narcissistic that you drive
without
everyone
being
away?
Frank Zappa.
And I mean, like, yes, I'm not Frank Zappa, so I'm not trying to put myself into that situation, but
no, I get the idea of that.
I have a theme, I have a point, and I also have I don't want to say the resources, but I'm willing to sacrifice to make certain things happen that I know other people aren't willing to do.
Right.
I'm willing to, build the stage shows, the correct stuff. I mean, with the real pods, all the stuff to make it look professional, to take it out into that direction. That's the place I want to go. I know I'm of a certain age. I know I'm of a certain quality. That's why the album approaches this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, even if I were young, even if I were talented, even if I were beautiful, you still have almost no chance to make it. Right. I mean, like, it's a 0% chance. And I don't care if you're an artist, a painter, a musician. If you're doing something like in an artistic capacity, a sculptor, whatever, visual artist, you're going to starve to death if that's your only source of income. And we all know that. We all hate it. We all despise it, and we are all waiting to win the lottery.
And we're all jealous of the people who, despite the odds, still make it incredibly big.
And they're not the most talented people all the time, but they had vision, and they planned it out, and they made purposeful motion. They made that, and that's when I get into collaboration with people. I need to make sure we understand what this collaboration is at first. Are we just kind of messing around to see where this goes? Or are you jumping into my project?
Right.
Because if you're jumping into my project, then I do want to maintain, I want your influence. And what you may come up with may be better than anything I ever thought of.
Right.
I'm not saying it.
But if you get too far off the rails.
But I just want to keep this in a specific, I have a purpose and an intent and an idea. And if those things fit in, they're great. If they don't, maybe we can pod that off into another project.
Right.
And what I think of, like, this is almost like a good thing and a bad thing. But like, if you look at a lot of the musicians, I've been around enough and sat in the backs of all of these establishments all over to notice, I'm like, oh, that's a different band name, but same guys.
Yeah.
It's about 20 dudes that are in a lot of bands around here.
Well, especially you see that a lot in this area because, you know, it's a smaller area, Roanoke, but you see the same names showing up in a lot of different projects going around, and especially bass players and drummers, because there's a dearth of especially drummers. So you see a lot of the drummers going playing with one band this night, and the next night they're a completely different genre band.
I stepped in, I think, and played with a band not too long ago in Salem. That was I think Oddfellows.
Oddfellows, okay.
Yeah, I stepped in with them.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine was the original drummer with Oddfellows. Okay.
I think I might have been a little too pickled by the end of the night. I don't know if they're going to ask me back. I was having a good time. We had a great time. It was great. Yeah.
Tyler is just such an incredible voice.
Oh my God!
And a player. I don't know if you've ever seen him when he's doing his solo shows.
No, I haven't gotten to go yet.
We went a couple.
He's amazing.
Oh man, and he's just so smooth. He's just up there. I don't know what's going on internally for him, but externally, he just looks like he's just having a good time.
I was having such a good time when we had a group chat going on as we were trying to figure out what songs we were going to play. And my group chat was called Tyler Perry. And I'm just like, oh my God, guys, you have no idea. And they're like, no, you don't understand. This is like every time we get in a group chat, they're this, but like, cause Perry, so it's Tyler Perry. And I'm just like laughing my butt off every time I get a message from him. I'm like, yes, I'm getting messages from Tyler Perry.
Oh, it's just Tyler Parrish.
That's great. So, but like, what I want is, I just founded my LLC, the parent company that's going to take over all of kind of like this stuff that I'm kind of doing. If you think like the foundry, the factory kind of like model, you know, the Andy Warhol kind of like all are welcome kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Where we are right now is in this grand frontier where, there's a new world, and there's those that are struggling incredibly to hold on to the past, and those incredibly struggling to figure out the future.
Right.
And I think we're really in this moment. We can talk about how it's permeated through the entire, you know, culture and world right now, where we can see the past and the future almost simultaneously. And it feels really beautiful, but you feel like you're at the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Yeah.
For those of you that read, you know, a little bit, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it is this moment in time where, you know, traditionally, you know, we can still celebrate those like, you know, Roy Clark or Yngwie Malmsteen or these people that just, if you ever actually, I don't care what you think of Roy Clark, if you actually watch, oh my God. If you've never seen that Oddfellows, when he goes on to the Oddfellows television show and he picks up, there's like a YouTube clip you can go and watch.
I'll have to watch it.
That blew my mind. You know, when I was a kid, like when somebody showed that to me, I was like, oh, that's when I changed my mind about country music.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
My favorite video of Roy Clark is he's standing up in front of the audience. And you know, this is later in his career where he's got the glitzy, almost Elvis-ish suit on.
Yeah.
And he's talking about it, and he's been playing whatever instruments because he has so many that he just picks up and plays flawlessly. And at this point, he's holding an Ovation acoustic.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready to play Magdalena, which is it's a Spanish.
Yeah.
It started off as just like a little practice thing, but people have taken it to absurd extents. And Roy is exactly one of them. But he's wearing an Ovation, and he goes, well, for this next song, we have a little bit of a problem. My guitar has a round back, and I got a round front. So it's kind of hard. And I like using that joke all the time.
That's great. I got a buddy with an Ovation.
when I'm teaching a student, you know, on our first lesson, one of the things I'm constantly telling them is, we're sitting down, still put your strap on. Mm-hmm. You know, have this strap so that the guitar stays in place. You're not used to holding it. It's going to slip and slide, and you're going to be fighting that more than you are fighting playing chords and notes and stuff. And I always use I have to wear a strap anyway because I've got kind of a big belly and it wants to push it off my lap.
That round belly. I've been doing, I took the fat shot too, I'm not going to lie. Yeah,
I was going to say, don't you talk to me about being fat.
I was there at 2+. But I was almost 250 there for a while.
Yeah.
And so I shaved off a ton of weight over the years doing CrossFit until I broke myself doing that. I wanted to go back real quick and before I get back to my story because I just didn't want to get too. I'm already so far away from it. I just wanted to say thanks for what you do because I know my dad was military and had to deal with a lot of PTSD and other kinds of things and I often joke with my students that you'll find especially veteran population will be it's a difficult challenge when you get in there to work with them because there will be a divide because there is no way that you could ever live through some of the things that they've ever seen. And so I think there's a separation for a lot of ex-military and stuff like that with mental health that we all know. There's a national mental health crisis specifically with veterans and homelessness and all kinds of other stuff like that. So I'm always going to be an advocate for those things. And I just wanted to make sure that was commending you for finding, I think, what is an kind of used avenue with like things like maybe just access to music. Music therapy can come as part of that, but there's a healing aspect. I think that we all, as musicians, know that when we're having a bad day, man,
sometimes just picking up the guitar,
grabbing that axe and chopping the world down.
Can do.
Yeah.
And I've had.
So thank you.
Well, thank you.
And being a teacher and an educator.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I've had some students who were recommended while they were seeking treatment for the PTSD. Their counselor would tell them, along with everything else we're doing, look into music. Mm-hmm. Because there is really a healing power behind music. And I think for a lot of them, they don't have to be good. They just like to know they can do it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I go for. But anyway, thank you for that. And now let's get back to the interesting stuff.
Well, I find that interesting. But all right. So to finish throwing myself under the bus one last time. I'm always going to make mistakes. I apologize profusely for things that I can never correct and for things that I will do in the future that ultimately I don't even know how I'm going to screw up yet. I try to do as much nice stuff for my wife as I can because I know that
you're just stacking up some good to balance
out.
I'm
balancing. I'm playing karma. And so, I don't want to completely, and I've got problems. I am working on those, but I'm going to make mistakes. And so I realize that. So it's got to be a fit. I understand if you're not, like, there's some fantastic musicians. When they come in, I'm just like, I know this is not going to be a you thing. It's going to be a me thing. Yeah. I understand. There's a bass player that I would love to play with, but I'm not, I don't want to ever, like, I'm not a disparaging person. So I'm only going to talk about, I'll talk about people like as anonymous people, even if it's slightly like that. I hope, but because it's not even their fault. Like they're just so laid back and so chill.
And you're like, that's great, but come on, we gotta go.
Oh man, it's like the two forces that make like a hurricane or a tornado. I'm sure like I get it. I understand.
We have a really low pressure area meeting a really high pressure area.
As long as we hang out every now and then when we see each other at the bar, hey, but if we have to be in a confined space,
and
like,
trying to create something.
I don't know if that's the right environment. So it's got to be a fit.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to work together, it's got to be a fit. Okay, so that's right. So I'm not going to chastise people or downplay, the role of personality and stuff like that. It's got to work. Okay. But there is a real lack of community. Loneliness is a real issue and not just a male issue. It is an issue.
Yeah.
And we get a false sense of connection and security through whether it's, now talking to a chat bot or, the internet and all the other kinds of things, or being able to sit down in your own basement and kind of come up with your own thing and kind of do that stuff. And you get hung up in it. You just started talking about doing this podcast kind of thing.
Right.
So the bigger umbrella, I'm getting ready to start doing a video version of this where I'm going to bring people in and be in front of the camera and do more of that. I've been kind of learning a little bit. I've got a bunch of videos on the backlog that I'm going to start doing, but I did a couple looping video trials to show.
I saw some of your videos on Facebook where you're showing how to do looping.
Yeah. So what I really kind of came to this thing where I was like, am I ever going to make it? Why would I ever think it? Why would I think it back then? Why would I think it now? There's a certain level of, okay, so let's find what works. Let's find how you work. Let's figure out what you do. I love making music. I love creating music. I love playing cover songs.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Those are fun times. Those are great times to get together with people and kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure that's collaboration. There can be moments where we can work stuff and do different things.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I learn so much just even from the set list before I even, I'm like, oh, I've never played that song before, or a new technique that I see somebody else do. I'm like, oh, how you're doing that way different than I do that.
The way people will slide up the neck of the guitar when they're playing the same chords, it's just a different voicing, and that fascinates me. I'm like, I know how to do it. It's doing it in the midst of battle that I have the trouble with.
You gotta have that. I've shot this free throw 10 billion times. Kind of mentality.
Exactly.
That's why I'm saying, like, I don't. You were talking about it earlier. Like, you kind of like you need to keep going, but you kind of you've got this thing and now you want to play with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want to play with this new thing I learned instead of like really working through and doing the rest. And I think there's that to it.
Yeah.
But during the writing of this album, I realized it was almost impossible to get people to either get together or to consistently get together.
Yeah.
And I found that to be really discouraging. And I want to make music. I like playing cover songs and stuff like that. I'm down to just playing solo work most of the time because honestly, it's just easier to coordinate all the way around, and I'll just go play a brewery and a winery.
It's like herding cats. If you've got more than two people, even two people can be like herding cats.
I don't mind doing it.
Yeah,
I like doing it. In fact, I would love to do it. I'll play frontman. I'll play drums. I'll do whatever. It's just even by the time I'll work something together where I get 3 people together.
Yeah,
and then you work that up, get a couple shows.
Well, I can't do this Saturday because we've got dinner with my wife's parents, and I can't do Sunday because it's hard matching schedules up.
Or you'll do 3 months of rehearsals, do 2 gigs, and then it just never goes anywhere.
Right.
So then you got to find 2 or 3 more people again.
You start all over again.
And then that's a defeatist attitude that if you don't have the right mindset, you can really kind of fizzle out on that. So I was, kind of thinking, like, what is it I want to do? What am I doing? And how can I do that even more? So I do not know how to record music. It's obvious when you listen to this album. I do the best I can.
I think it sounds pretty good, but I mean, that's coming from the lens of somebody, I'm not even sure I've got my mic set up in the right place when I'm trying to do these things.
Oh, God, no. I want to have an engineer on staff, call. I want to have some people, not just an engineer. I want to have multiple engineers that I can call. And the reality is that what I want to do is I want to educate myself, but I don't want to keep that knowledge. I want that knowledge to be shared because in this new world, even us old guys, unfortunately, we got to use social media. We've got to do these things. And we're falling to prey to just using AI to just generate us a band flyer or something like that for this week's gig. And, and it all looks the same and it all starting to drone in and everybody's I don't like doing this crap and everything, stuff like that. But like back in the day, we all had to hustle. And so I pressed CDs or, for my band, and we would go down to Crossroads Music or like one of those like local like record stores that would open up at midnight and release the new like System of a Down album or something like that. And we would be out there like handing out like, free CDs to people and
stuff like that. Take a listen to this too.
Yeah. And I mean, you'd see them like laying all over the sidewalks later and stuff like that. Like multiple bands. Because there's tons of us down there like doing it.
Yeah.
And you're, doing the flyers out there, like hustling the flyers and stuff like that and having to have street teams and having like when you'd play a show, you're like, please guys, can we get you on our mailing list so we can send you flyers? And like, it's a pain in the ass to do all that stuff.
Back in the 80s, I had a buddy that worked as a disc jockey at the 94 FM, I guess, the country music station.
Yeah.
The FM country music station. And one night, I didn't have much else to do, so I just went there and hung out with him while he was spinning records. This was back when he had a little bit of a programming thing that he had to follow, but mostly he was just picking records up and playing them. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, these guys showed up and they're like, "Hey man, we've got this tape. We'd like you to take a listen to if you could get it on the radio." And my buddy's like, "Absolutely, man. Yeah, here, hand it over. Absolutely." And and he talked to him a little bit and got some information about him. He said, "All right, well, we'll take a listen to it. I can't promise anything, but we'll take a listen to it." They're, "Thanks, man. Thanks." They're all pumped up and they took off. And my buddy comes in and he says, He threw it in the trash, and I'm like, you're not even going to listen to it? He's like, if I had to listen to everything people bring by here, I'd never get anything else done. Yeah. And it's a shame, but people are busy.
So, we can actually get around the middleman. We can learn the skills ourselves. To kind of other people can make their own records at least as good as I made, because I don't have the kind of skill. Like, I don't have grand skills. I'm just a dude who's just beating my way through.
It sounds good
so
enough.
If I can do that, then anybody can do that. And so I believe that we're in a position right now where we're afraid of a lot of this new technology, so much so that it's just like that thing. It becomes a thing. You just let it become a thing. You just got to start. Right. I think a lot of times it's just getting started.
Well, that's what I did with this podcast. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the majority of what it is I'm doing. It's just I'm doing it, and I'm figuring it out as I go. I've made some mistakes. I've had some bad audio come through because I didn't understand certain things about how to set up my equipment. It's better now, right. and so I'm learning all these things with a little help, with a little technical help from AI in some cases. I mean, I would never just tell AI, hey, do all of this for me, but here's what I'm trying to do, and I can't figure this damn thing out. Could you, and if you take a look at the far left corner of the screen, you will see a button. And that helps.
Right.
It helps to have, it's not an expertise. They're just looking up the information, and I could do that. Yeah. They can just look it up a lot quicker.
Well, AI it's a tool.
Yeah. It can be abused, obviously.
A hammer can be used to build a house for a needy family or murder that family.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it just depends on how you want to use that hammer.
Right.
So I think, like, if you rely on, like, one tool too much, like, try to build a house with only a hammer.
Yeah, you're going to be.
So that's where I think, like, is AI bad? Yeah, at a lot of stuff, but not at everything. Yeah. There's a lot of things that AI can be useful for. I find that sometimes even things that I found it to be useful for aren't universally applicable. Like, it'll make things worse. And I'll get down a rabbit. I'm like, back it all the way out.
Yeah, and you do have to have the skill of how you ask AI for a question, for advice on this. But you also have to put it through a filter of, does this make sense? Or at some point saying, wait a minute, what you're telling me isn't what I'm seeing. You're hallucinating, aren't you? And I've had AI say, you're absolutely right. I made a mistake. So
You've nailed the actual thing. So I tell my students, and this is, I'm talking college level. Yeah. I'm like, so I can't stop them from using AI. I can't follow them around all day.
Right.
And plus AI is just everywhere. So now it's ubiquitous. And if you want to try to use technology without using AI or whatever we're calling AI, it's really just LLMs, but that's another story. And I could explain more about that, but that's completely another story. And so, if you can't know when it's wrong, you shouldn't be using it.
Right.
So the reason why we want to learn how to do it by hand, the reason why we want to do it that way is so that then later on we can rely on those time-saving tools, but then we can notice and clean up the editorial.
You're screwing this up.
Yeah. So. As an editor now, I can notice those hiccups a lot more because I actually can do it myself. Sometimes I get so mad at AI. You should see how much I cuss out AI. When the AI comes alive, they are coming for me first.
See, I'm very polite to even if I get frustrated and snap at them, I'll come back later and say, look, buddy, I'm real sorry about that.
Nope, it lies. It lies to me, and I do not trust people who lie to me. The reason why people don't like me is because I refuse to tell the truth or refuse to lie. Like, if you ask me, do I look fat in these jeans? I'll be like, now listen.
It's not the jeans that are making you look fat.
Listen, if you want me to help you shop for jeans, that's fine. If you want the self-reassurance, that's a different thing. I'm just going to tell you the truth. That's one of my isms coming through. Oh, my God. All right, sorry. But the point of it is that I think it's important to learn how to do it yourself first. And then you can rely on those time-saving tools to help expedite things and to help do some of those like little grunt work and then clean up the errors and stuff that goes along with that. So It's just a tool and kind of whatever. But again, it's another thing that either people use too much of or they don't use enough of. It's hard to find that sweet spot, again, where you're still keeping yourself in the culture, you're still keeping a community aspect. Because I think right now, and you can totally blast me if I'm wrong, I live down in the New River Valley. So it's a lot harder down there for us that are not in a very specific genre. There's an aesthetic that just dominates.
If you're not playing 70s and 80s music.
No, bluegrass adjacent, Americana kind of thing like that.
Which is all fine.
Listen, I play, again, I'm in awe of some of the musical talent that I'm around. In the Roanoke Valley, the New River Valley, Wytheville is growing strong right now.
Right.
And that's the point I want to get back to. I don't want this to ever come off as me saying like, make room, get out of the way or anything like that. I want to make more space.
Right.
I want to say, that's great. Let's keep that going. Let's add to that, because I think there's a lot of people marginalized right now from either a saturated market where there's just, again,
too much
great talent out there. And if I'm going to hire somebody, why wouldn't I hire somebody that's tried and trusted and well entrenched in the system? So I don't blame anybody. In fact, let's keep that going. Let's continue to grow that part. So nobody there, no problems there.
But we're not talking about a box that can't grow. We have plenty of space.
There's a massive heavy metal, hip hop, electronic music. There are all kinds of other musicians in this area that have to travel to North Carolina, Richmond, down in Tennessee, and all kinds of other stuff, just to even maybe play a few times a year. I got a good buddy that plays in the band Ziggurat. It's a metal band, and he has to do everything he can to get just a showcase together. Dying Oath is a local band in the air, Mindy Jackson. They just got signed and everything. And nobody even knows about it. Nobody around here understands that there's a badass metal band that just got signed to like a subsidiary of Virgin Records, right? Like, nobody even knows that. That's insane that we don't have a space to respect and appreciate all of those other things along with this other gluttony of beautiful talent that we have down here.
Right.
So I thought about like what I love to cook.
Me too.
Man, I love to cook.
Can't you tell?
I was trained by like a chef at the Greenbrier back in the day.
I was trained by Google.
I've lost a lot, but still to this day, I'll get fancy. I make my own like sauces from scratch and like all kinds of different cool little things and stuff like that. And my family very much appreciates, my love for cooking. And I've often thought about opening a restaurant. I've had several LLCs in the past, and stuff like that. And I thought about opening a restaurant and then I thought about maybe like, maybe a music venue. Okay. But then I thought like, well, it's if I'm going to make it in this area, ultimately I'm going to have to rely on the bulk of what is in this area. So then I thought, well, what am I doing right now? I'm in my basement recording. I'm building the studio. I've got like my 7B microphone, and I've got, I'm buying equipment, and I'm getting new mixers, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to come together and everything. Now I'm still not good at it, but I'm getting better. I'm better and better and better. What if I vision this out to the future? Let's think about like one of those places where like in the centerpiece, you've got, I don't know if you ever went to like the old Mars Music or like before they went defunct for selling Gibson guitars on sale when they weren't supposed to, and they got sued out of oblivion. But you would go in and there'd be like this middle area, like the showcase area.
Right.
Like, think about like couches and everything kind of pointed towards the, round table kind of discussions, people meeting, conversations happening and stuff like that. Like a warehouse kind of environment. Sound, area on one side where you have the recording studio, where you are going in there to record the music and stuff like that. Sound stage on the other side to record content. All kinds of other little places around, like a one-stop shop for a musician in the modern world. I freaking hate making content. So what if you could stop into a place and make like a month's worth of content in like a day or two? What if we could, because we've got all the equipment set up, we've got all these different things kind of going.
So people with these ideas of podcast, for instance.
I'm going to have a podcast area set up so that you can rent the podcast station with all of the right microphones and all the best equipment and everything kind of there. So you're going to be professional.
That friction of trying to get started like I did, I was fortunate that I was putting a lot of this together for my teaching anyway, and then realized I can extend this a little bit. But people don't always have, I had the equipment. People don't have the equipment. So do they want to put a lot of money into equipment and then find out that they can't do it, or the idea wasn't what they wanted, or something like that? Or they can rent a space like what you're talking about. That's a great idea.
So what gave me the idea is actually this is already being done at places like universities. So if you go at the university, they have these media centers where students can literally just wander in there. They don't have to make an appointment even if they don't want to, if it's not booked up.
Right.
You know what? So can the public, because your tax for any public institution.
Right.
Like we, as the general public, have access to the libraries at Virginia Tech. Well, we also have access. You can go into the Virginia Tech library and check out anything they have. Do you know they have media to check out? Like you can check out like 4K like cameras and all kinds of other stuff for free.
Well, see, I did not know that.
Yes, you can check out Rebel cameras and EOSs and all the high-end equipment. All of it's for free. Just check it out like a library because it's available to the public.
I suddenly saw a whole bunch of new...
I just broke some of your brains, just so you know. You can go to Radford. You can go to any public... If it is a public university funded by taxpayer money,
time-consuming
you need to go and check out the catalogs and what is available to the public. It is an amazing offering. Make yourself... But there's a barrier, I think, for a lot of people to get to that. So I'm looking at something more communal.
Right.
I'm looking at something that's not necessarily about like, I know they're trying to onboard students there. So they have a lot of the students kind of running the equipment for educational purposes. And that's fine. That's what that needs to exist.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something over here where like maybe I've got to hire some engineers and stuff like that. But then eventually, like I'm kind of the same way I was talking about the band. I can't do anything in the band better than somebody else can. So I'd rather hire somebody else to do that. Eventually, I'm kind of like, the Wizard of Oz, kind of controlling everything without really any skills, but like,
well, and some of those,
I'm like the big hit in the sky going, hey.
Some of what the people that are coming in can learn is how to do that back end part of it. Not necessarily to use the equipment themselves, but how to make it so that other people can use it.
So the motto that will be above the door when you come in is, my goal is to teach you enough that you will not need me.
Yeah, I like that.
That will be the motto, that when you come in the door, you will see that first.
Yeah.
My goal is that by the time you leave here, you will have enough skills that you just come back if you want to.
Right.
You just come back and say, hey, I'd like to see what else is going on or whatever. But my goal is to make you autonomous, to make you available to yourself, so that you can go down and make an album or create content with a little bit more ease, without it being a monster, or without it taking up so much of your time, or without all of those things. Because I think, like, instead of people attacking some of the difficult problems in life, they often demonize them. So, like, you get, like, these comments like AI slop, or, like, you'll get, like, all this, even when people actually worked hard on something.
Right.
And there's plenty of AI slop that deserves to be, let's burn it. Let's all call them out and let's do that. But when people are using AI as a tool, because honestly, their friends don't seem to carry through with a lot of their promises, and we try.
Yeah.
I know we all have the best intentions in life, but sometimes you look back at the wake and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, because you didn't realize your friend was actually waiting on you.
Yeah.
I had to have a conversation with my buddy. He's always 2 hours late. And I'm like, and he's like, well, why don't you just do something else? I'm like, no, because we made an agreement that we were going to be there at that time.
I didn't make room for 2 hours of doing something else. I didn't make the headspace for it, because in my head, we were here during this time doing this. I deal with that a lot too.
So I don't want to be rude again, because I think it's really a matter of fit. I think honesty and openness, and I think a lot of us are guarded, and I think we... especially in music, there's a poofiness to where we all have to kind of listen to this, or, like you're your own promoter, and I think like we all know we're delusional, but like at the same time, you can't even allow yourself to believe it sometimes.
Right.
You got to pretend even for yourself. So I think like there's a certain human nature to become defensive, to become scared, and then even to demonize and chastise those that maybe aren't doing it the way you would do it or in the traditional sense.
Right.
And I hate that there's a divide right now between those that, let's say, a bluegrass traditionalist. I mean, I doubt Billy Strings feels the same way. But, like, you know, your dude that's down playing at the country store in Floyd, you know, probably listens to anything with electronics in it and probably sneers his nose at it and would rather take a dump on it.
I love Billy Strings. My wife and I are going to go see him when he's here on the 14th.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that.
I know, that's going to be great.
But I've read some of the postings that'll be on Facebook or just, you know, I don't use Instagram a lot. I've just recently started doing that because of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just in different forms where he comes up, there's always somebody who comes in and says, he's just too modern. I don't like his style of bluegrass. And somebody was trying to explain it in one of the forums I was reading about. You hear all of this out of key movement that he's doing and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I can understand that. But have you never listened to Bill Monroe? Have you never listened to Ernest Tubbs? Listen to them play. They're all over the place. They have no concept that a song can only be in the 7 chords of that key. They are all over they use chromatic scales constantly.
I think they were making half that stuff up. I mean, like,
Well,
let's go with what feels good.
I mean, they probably had their share of detractors at the time saying, y'all aren't making this like it was in Ireland.
Or like the, like Angine de Poitrine, you know what I'm talking about? The polka dot guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So everybody, the
so
microtonal.
Say that
it's
again.
Angine de Poitrine.
Angine de Poitrine.
It's like angina. It's like French for the word angina.
So, I've seen the name and
God,
I don't even try to pronounce it. But okay,
I'm probably still pronouncing it wrong. But anyway, you know, everybody's all about microtonal.
Somebody French would tell you you're pronouncing it.
Oh, well.
It's éclair.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's like microtonal, because was it like
that.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard does a lot of microtonal stuff. But they've been using fretlesses for a long time.
Yeah.
And fretless, if I'm not mistaken, includes even more notes that's on that
Absolutely.
Guitar. That's that guy and then wearing polka dots.
And you'll never hear.
I'm not. I may be mistaken on this.
You'll
but
never
I'm
hear
pretty
a
sure.
better bass line slide than somebody playing a stand-up bass and going, because you don't hear that. It's just a smooth.
Because you're getting each microtone, each one, not just each fret, but like all that in between. So anyway, that's a whole nother argument. We can get into Baroque and like all the other.
I love microtonal. I've seen videos. There's this one woman who does videos where she's playing a microtonal guitar and making the microtonal sound. She's singing along with it, not necessarily with words, but just making oral tonal sounds that are matching what she's playing.
Does it sound like Arabian? Or?
I don't even know how to describe it. It's so odd, but it's wonderful to listen to. I wouldn't want to listen to it on an hour drive and hear only that for an hour.
Oh no!
But if it mixed in, I keep a pretty eclectic mix on my music spread. So if it came in, I'd be like, my wife would be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Well, my wife gets shocked all the time. I have to make sure I change music before people come home. Because, Mike Patton is my hero. And, he does it. If you know anything, about, Faith No More, the old band from the 90s, Mike Patton didn't even want to be in that band.
Okay.
He wasn't the original singer of that band. But he's been in, so many weird bands that he has started over the years that have each done their own things. He writes scores for TV and movies and video games and everything else. He has no limits whatsoever. He was in a band called Fantomas with guys from the Melvins and Dave Lombardo from Slayer. And, he was with Dillinger Escape Plan and Peeping Tom and, Tomahawk, and like just band after band after
Yeah.
band after band that he's worked with, and like he just did the Avett Brothers.
Okay.
He did a project with them called Avett and Patton. That like completely out of the blue. I'm like, what are you doing now, man? Awesome. So he's like my like really like I just idolize him. He probably rubs people the wrong way too because he's driven like that. I've heard stories. I don't know. I wish I could get in his orbit.
Well,
yeah.
when he hears this
But like
episode,
Kim, there's a guy like Kim Dracula or something like that. That like it's like like changes like full on genre change. It can
Yeah.
go like opera to metal to like doo wop and like my wife will come in like, what are you listening? Sorry.
well, you mentioned King Gizzard and one of my Will Henson was in here and we were talking about that, and I mean, he was the reason I even looked it up. I mean, he's somebody whose musical taste he's somebody I admire enough that when he says, hey, here's a cool band, or says something about a band that he really likes, I'm going to go take a listen to that. And the thing that struck me about King Gizzard was that you can't listen to, it's like your album. You can't listen to one song and know what they're about. You can't listen to 10 songs and know what they're about.
Right.
Because they change all the friggin' time.
On this next album,
and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, good. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I love. That's what I think I appreciate about that is like, growing up, I was deep into like, the heavy metal and the hip hop scene. So I kind of shunned a lot of other music when I was younger,
Right.
because honestly, I just hated the gatekeeping of it. I was like, we can play your music in our genre, but you can't play our music in your genre.
Yeah.
We can bring country and bluegrass and all that traditional stuff. We can bring in opera and we can bring in classical and we can do all that. We can even share amongst ourselves. Like think about like the whole like new metal movement of the early, which we can talk about Limp Bizkit in a completely different light. But that's not necessary. But what I was talking about was like the no rules, limitations, acceptance, and merging of things, as opposed to this compartmentalization. Like this stiff arming, where I get it in some ways. There needs to be a protective bubble around. We need to preserve things. We do need that.
Right.
So I think there's a place for that. Again, want to keep that growing, want to continue to make that flourish. But I also want to make a space available for these other people to start to have access to things.
You got to push the envelopes, or you're just going to get the same stuff over and over.
Or let's say I don't want to tour. Let's say I'm an older person that I've got a family and stuff like that. And in this modern world, if you do it right, locally, you can start to build an actual real monetary income that would be that equivalent of touring.
Yeah.
It's not really that difficult. But it takes the time. You can't just go out and tour and make money. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to schedule a tour around and make money. Nobody's going to show. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've watched as people have gone belly up trying to do that. You have to build up just like anything. It's a momentum game. There's no get-rich-quick scheme in life. It is compounding interest. Every now and then somebody wins the lottery. Good on them. Good on them. Great.
But they probably put a lot of work in the background. Like you said earlier, they had a plan and they worked the plan.
Somebody wins the lottery every now and then. Come on, man. Those guys that wrote that song Butterfly. I mean, like, not to say that they weren't okay musicians, but they had other issues going on.
Yeah.
They were never going to go
You
anywhere.
get your one-hit wonders who become phenomenally popular based on one song. And it's, and I've always thought about that. And I wonder how, getting completely off track, but if you knew that you were going to have one song that defined you in the eyes of the public, and that's just going to happen, you can't stop it. You're going to have one song that's going to be, you'll be decided as a one-hit wonder, but you'll have that one phenomenal song that's in the zeitgeist. Would you rather that happen early in your career or later in your career?
I think if you have the right mindset, why wait? I mean, like, as long as you have the right people around you, I mean, for every, there's a dozen and a half tragic tales for, let's say, a LeBron James.
Right.
Or a Michael Jordan, that maybe we've seen, the movies about and stuff, where he had the right people around him just to kind of keep him from hurting himself,
right.
And stuff like that. Or at least, like, my kids, if they which they don't seem to want to go this direction at all, they're going to have some knowledge of things that they're not going to be shocked by a lot of stuff, because they've been to a festival and seen me play, and they've done, they've sat behind a merch booth, completely bored out of their mind, playing on their phones. And so to them, none of this would be shocking and stuff like that. And I don't want to say there's a lot of nepotism in this, but I think like if your parents are a big rock star, like it's easier for you to slide into dealing with what that means because you've been there, you've already seen it, you've already felt it. And if that's the path you want to go, you probably got a skill set that is going to better prepare you. The luck of the lottery was you were born to the right people, but you do have the good skills to make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jacob Dylan might have only wrote one great song, but at the same time, he's lived his whole life off of that one song.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that you would want to give that up?
Well, I mean,
Go TA. Dun, 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 Bye Bye Black Sheep or whatever.
Well,
he just,
But he purposefully just left.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He just
had that one song and he said, you know what? That's enough.
And I think there's an avenue for people like that don't want to be in the scene.
Right.
And that's also part of what I'm trying to talk about here. If we can create a creation station that isn't just music, that isn't just content. Say you just want to come in for content. Say you want to come in for the whole package.
Right.
Be signed on to the bigger label or whatever thing, and we'll take you under the umbrella and we'll do this.
You're just removing some of the barriers to entry.
What I really want to do is make it a communal space where I'm not even involved. If I can create relationships within this, and then you guys pod out so that now you guys are a team that are working together consistently. Get the hell out of here and go do whatever you do.
Yeah.
Come back and, hey, every now and then give me a shout out, but go for it. That would be my, just keep bubbling off and like doing that. And then now we create like a real network of inter-creative people where there's this live music scene that can exist. And then maybe we do like a once a month meet and greet where we do a showcase where somebody might have an album that's coming out or something like that, or a series of singles that everybody has got. And we'll play those in the background while everybody hobnobs, and, we'll have the creators and the musicians and everybody and the engineers and those kinds of people and the videographers all invited to the same parties once a month. And I'm working on developing a festival once a year to showcase local talent. And for those that want to be involved, we can, Jared Stouts, and I have never reached out to him about any of this stuff or anything like that. These are our heroes, our local, the Dying Oath though needs to be on that same bill.
Okay.
These are local heroes that we need to have, these kinds of people. And to say, hey, we are proud of what we are doing in Roanoke, in Blacksburg, in Christiansburg, in Salem, in the surrounding areas, and all these other places. We're proud of what we're doing here, and we're making something special. And I think that there's a place for this community to actually come together, and we can become self-sufficient. We can do something.
It's a great idea. I think it's a great idea.
And I think that's ultimately if I'm ever going to leave a legacy, it's going to be to help establish a way for us to fight through this isolation, to get back to what I think we're all so desperately talking about, but not able to do. And there needs to be at least some place to make that easy, to make when you walk in, you feel safe.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We have been at this.
That's it. We know. We mentioned that was the period.
I don't have. I generally, when I first started this, I thought about an hour. I'm not going to cut off a good story. We're at 59, 54.
I haven't even looked at the
56.
clock.
What? I've had so many people come in here and go, "It's been that long? Holy shit! I never even noticed it." We're almost at the 2 hour. There'll be a little bit of trimming from the beginning. Okay. I don't do a lot of editing.
I'm sorry if you've stuck through all this. Well, if you have, then maybe you're enjoying it.
Anybody, if they're still listening now, and whether or not this part that we're talking about right now gets trimmed off, I don't know. It might stay in there. It's interesting stuff. But there is so much that we could talk about. Obviously, so much more we could talk about. My only real concern is if a listener is pulling up a podcast episode and goes, "This is 2.5 hours," they might not listen to the whole thing. So
This is your show.
man,
you do you.
I want to get you in here again. And not next week or anything like that, but a few months down the road, next year,
let things brew.
Man, I'd love to see where you are with these ideas then, because we're on Facebook now. I'm following you now, so hopefully I'll have an idea about it. But I'd love to get you in sometime, first part of next year maybe, and we can talk about a whole bunch of other shit, as well as
there were so many topics.
Have you?
And there were so many things we brushed off. Like we were yeah.
That's where in my mind this whole thing shines, is just these kind of conversations. This wasn't an interview. This was a couple of guys sitting and enthusiastically talking about
really appreciate it. No, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming in and spending the time here. I know it's a it's a Friday. I'm off today, so it feels like
tomorrow. No, if it was tomorrow, we'd be
I was actually off yesterday, but it didn't feel like a day off because I had to get up early because my wife had to work. So I had to get up early and make sure she's all buttoned up and off to work, honey.
Yeah.
But so today just feels like a Saturday because I get to wake up at 6 instead of 4.
Oh, good for you. Yeah.
But this has been just really incredible, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how some of these projects goes. And the new projects that are going to bubble up from that fertile soil of your mind.
I'm excited.
And all the manure in there too.
Winner. Out of 10. Oh, great.